Hey all, Slanesh Devotee here again. This time I'm trying out a Nahumekh deck. I'm trying something a little bit different. I'll explain it as we go. But as I point out here, we've got a few red and blues in a row, which is a pretty good setup for Planet 5 there if neither of us gets one of those three. And interestingly enough, I'm up against another Nahumekh player. So this is going to be really interesting. As you can see there, I've got a Promethean mine. And so what I was trying out is I've got some recycle in this deck. I've got the Harbinger of the Storm. And I'm also using a whole lot of various movement effects for a variety of big chunky elites that are quite good. But one of the things I've got is the Ravenwing Escort, which I've got another game coming where you can see the Ravenwing be quite useful. But it's a 4 cost, which is this awkward position. So I thought with the recycles in the deck, I'll try out the Promethean mine to try and help bring that cost down just a little bit. I also have my usual little Nahumekh trick of using, what are they called, pitiful grots or whatever, and penal legionnaires as free fuel for the Nahumekh abilities. But they do use up card slots, so they're not really free. So I decided I'd go with the Promethean mine first, just get its effect straight away, but it is limited, so that meant I couldn't use the Celtic complex. But I also had the Harbingers of the Storm and two different races in my hand, so perhaps I should have used the Celtic complex first, because I would have actually got myself 2 more cards or 2 more resources just through that use then. Whereas the Promethean mine had no comeback at this stage. I was just trying to decide what order I wanted to do things. I couldn't put the Celtic out, unfortunately, so out goes the Penal Legionnaires onto a planet that I'm assuming he's going to want to go to for command, and what I want there is the Penal Legionnaires to be not a threat. I want him to look at those and think, yep, that's fine. They have no command, they can't really fight, I'm not fussed, because I don't want him to kill them, obviously. I want them to be in an awkward position where he doesn't particularly want to go and fight them. So I am thinking between what exactly do I want to put out. I decided Destroyer. I decide not to put it on Planet 1, or do I? No, I put it on Planet 2, don't I? Yeah. I think that was because I wasn't expecting it to be a particularly great fighter, and I want it to be a good solid fighter next round, and I don't want it to get picked off by something depending on what he might be able to do. It shows the Celtic complex he was supposed to have triggered, and it's a casual game, so I'm happy with that. It doesn't really affect what I would have done on my turn, so I'm okay with that. I'll let him take that. So there we go. He decides to use it to generate a card. It's a good call. Card's pretty useful, especially in this early stage where you need to get all your options set up and out on the table. Time Warm Staples. This is a limited card, I believe, isn't it? Yes, and he's already done the Celtic, so I just point that out for him. That actually he can't do that. Yeah. Unfortunately. And so he takes that one back in. That's fine. So it's still his turn then. And he's got another marksman. Solid, command, threatening unit. I'm looking at that and thinking maybe I should have gone to Planet 1. Maybe I could have got away with it. He's still got 2 resources. I've still got 3. So yeah, maybe that would have been a good idea. I've got 3 now. So previously I was thinking, do I put out a Harbinger and a Vasha Trailblazer, or do I put out the Cultist? And I feel like I wanted the Cultist to set up a bit of a strong presence. I possibly should have been a bit more daring with him and put him on Planet 1, and then committed to 1 myself to try and really make it worthwhile. I'm going to go to planet 3 because I'm figuring I'm going to ping whatever's on planet 1 and hopefully ping his warlord. But yeah, alternatively I could have had a Harbinger of the Storm probably on planet 1, maybe on planet 2 or 3, and a Vasha Trailblazer probably down on planet 5, maybe on planet 3. I wouldn't want to mobile him over onto the Penal Legionnaires and then, you know, make it a plum target for the enemy warlord. So there we go, I win 1, because I completely forget that my Penal Legionnaire is losing and he can command cap me with the Cultist. Possibly I should have gone to planet 1. I feel like I should have been a bit more of a bully with my Nahumekh, but I wasn't sure what he was going to be doing. Over to Yvan. Oh, he got far too much. So as you can see, I've got the Shroud Cruiser, I've got the Ravenwing Escorts, which are in the deck. I have Obedience myself as the signature support. I have mobile units such as the Ravenwing, the Vasha, and the Venomous Fiend. So my idea here is I've got lots and lots of units that can move a long way and get into really plum positions really easily and do what they need to do and stay alive and be tricksy and all those sorts of things. So he said command action, but actually he didn't have a command action. He was just checking, which is fine. I was a little confused, but we're all good. Nothing from Yvan, I don't believe. I think I paused for a second, just making sure he doesn't throw anything else into the mix. No trigger, there you go. Okay, on to planet 2. His effect drops my cultists down by 1. I'm not sure if he actually remembers to make a note of that effect or not. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, drops the effect by 1, drops the hit points by 1. So my cultists are now a 2/3, which isn't too bad, which is reasonable. No actions, nothing special to do here. He swings, take the 2 wounds. And then I'm waiting on him with his initiative. He's got nothing, I've got nothing. Ping him for 2. Oh, sorry, there we go. Ping for 2, hit for 2. 2 damage on Nahumekh. There we go. Alright. And then that's the end of the round. He's got nothing else to do. I'm very pleased about this. So, it is time to get out of there, I believe. Yep, he stays. I'm out. Not sticking around for that nonsense. So yeah, my Harbinger would have died, but I would have had more of a command spread if I'd used the Harbinger and the Vasha Trailblazer. Possibly. Oh well. C'est la vie. What will be, will be. And so he's looking around on what he wants to trigger Karnath with. Aatrox is a possibility, but kind of plan him. Yeah, that's really the more useful one, I think, at that point. Get his units into the position he wants them. Throws it right down. So that's quite a nice little maneuver there. He's taken Planet 1 with a cheap little Kappa, and then he's thrown it out to be a cheap little Kappa. I mean, you can't blame him for that. That's really solid. Okay, so I get my Aatrox trigger, and I decide I want to see if I can get his Warlord bloodied to reduce the effect of the Nahumekh ability, and just to make him a little bit more scared about his commits and things like that. So there we go, that's the end of that round, and fresh round brings with it fresh cards. There's my Ravenwing Escort, which is nice, and another Sautek Complex, and given I've already got one, that's really quite nice as well. So, before we get into turns, wrong button there we go, we need to set our slaves, so I'm thinking Space Marine. I'm thinking Space Marine? Oh, I'm thinking Space Marine. He's mobile with a Necron Warlord, which is lovely. You can dance around, stay alive, and get into a good position to move the units that I want moved. which is really, really handy. Have I taken my resource? I don't know if I've taken my resource from the Promethean mine. I'm making sure he's doing his enslavement. He's gone Astra Militarum now, so that's good. We've both shifted around a bit. And then I get my Promethean mine resource, which is nice. So that's nice. Okay, my turn to act first. Yeah. Okay, all the before taking action stuff is done. Yeah. So a whole lot of reactions to the beginning of the deploy phase. But it's all sorted, we're all up to date, we're all good. And my first action is... oh, it shouldn't be that. See me waiting with my finger on the trigger there, and now I'm watching back going, don't click that, don't be a fool. There we are, Celtic Complex, that's the one we want. That's the important one. There we go. Okay. Celtic Complex out. Good. And he's got another Celtic himself, which is a little bit scary. That's quite an impressive little economic engine that's going to generate there. I go with the Space Marines. Drop them down the line a little bit. I'm hopeful that I'll be able to put out bigger units onto those later planets and use the Ravenwing to move them around. And I decided I've got enough resources, so I'm going to pull a card. And I get an SDC. So I've got lots of my limited cards in my hand, which is a bit of a limitation. Get it? But my problem is I've got my Shroud Cruiser, I've got my Ravenwing, I've got my Promethean Mine, I've got my SDC, but I don't have any of my elites turning up, and I've got a few in this deck. So he fires off a 1-cost unit and fires off a Celtic Complex twice for it, which is just perfect. I mean, he gets 2 cards back. I mean, that's really, really great. It's hard to deny that one. I'll throw out a Harbinger of the Storm. I think I will. Yes, I do. And I decide I want to get in on Planet 1 there and make sure that he doesn't get an easy run of it. And that allows me to switch over to Tau, which is great. I'm going to have 3 factions on the board very, very shortly. He hasn't got much that's particularly bulky to fight me on that first planet at the moment. He's just got his little cheap units, which is great. Talon Raiders, I'm not too upset by that. I'm pretty happy with that. And so I put out my Vashya, and I can trigger my Celtic another time. And I decide for another card, and I get another limited card. It's another Celtic. So it's nice to have all 3 Celtic complexes. It's going to take me at least another 2 turns to have them all out. But between that and the STCs and my Promethean Mine I threw out on the first turn, I'm sort of like, I feel like I've got a bunch of economy and not much to spend it on in a way. He's got his own Harbinger of the Storm, which I have to admit I completely wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting to see that card at all out of anybody else. And he's throwing out Eldar, which, to be fair, scares me. I'm instantly thinking, oh my goodness, has he got a Banshee? Is there a Banshee coming? Am I in that sort of trouble? So I don't want to put out the Harbinger, because that would be a pain, but I can't put out the Harbinger, I've got no money. But he gets to put out an Eldar, which triggers the complexes again. So in this turn he's got 2 cards so far. What does he go with this time? He has spent, he gets a card and a resource. He has spent 3 resources, 4 resources, and 3 cards on an Imperial Guard unit, a Harbinger, and an Eldar unit. So 3 cards, 4 resources, and he's returned 3 cards and a resource, which seems pretty decent. and now he's just managing to just pip me for command along the board. He's equalled me against the Vashyar. He's pipped me over the Ravenwing. He's also got just a little bit more oomph on the first planet than I do, which I don't appreciate at all. I'm offended by that. And I suppose we're waiting for him to decide if he wants to do anything else. And otherwise, yeah, he's done. Okay, so we've got to decide where to go. And I've decided to follow up my Harbinger, even though potentially it's not the most ideal plan. But I'm deciding to go to Planet 1 and try and bully him there. Potentially, maybe I should be going to Planet 2 and letting the Harbinger just die, because, you know, it's not really worth it. Set up my cultist to be a bigger hitter next turn, maybe. The cultist is a 4-4 at the moment, which is a nice, good, solid body. Well, actually a 4-2, really, because he's taken the damage, unfortunately. But I'm ready to go, he's ready to go, and I go to 1, and he goes to 1, which kind of makes sense. Not really surprised. He clicks the wrong button there, wrong dial. Okay. Ready at 1. Waiting for Camilb. Okay, here we go, lined up. So, Planet 1 is his, unfortunately. Planet 3 is his. Planet 4 is his. Planet 5 is nobody's. But he's targeting obedience. He's going to shift somebody somewhere. Who is he going to move? He's taking the marksman. And now, technically, and he's shifting it to Planet 1, which is fine. Technically, that's actually a reaction to the beginning of the phase. So what that means is that when you trigger obedience, it's the beginning of the command phase. The beginning of the command phase is actually before we've chosen where our warlords go. So obedience should move the Viola marksman before collecting command, which I think actually is at the moment. I don't think we've got command yet. So I think he's, yeah, so it is before he collected the command, which is fine, but it's actually also before we shift our warlords, so he can't react to my warlord being on Planet 1 with the marksman, really. I didn't bring it up, I was aware of it at the time, but I decided it was a bit of a casual game. I'm just playing around on the internet with people from around the world, and that's fine, but it is technically the wrong timing there, and that could make a difference. If he had decided to go to Planet 1 using obedience, that may have been enough for me to say, actually, I'm not going to bother going to Planet 1 then. You've got another ranged unit there, I'm going to skip it. I'm going to go to Planet 2, probably. I use my mobile to shift my Ravenwing to Planet 3 and my Vashyar to Planet 2. That's pretty straightforward, not much else to say about that. And then I realise it's my turn. I was kind of waiting for him to say done, but I didn't need him to. So Nahumek's effect, I'm going to kill off the ranged unit with my Nahumekh effect. No action. Oh, and there would have been an, would have there a reaction to the combat at that. Technically there would be an action window at the beginning of the command phase before, the beginning of the combat phase before the battle at the first planet, which he may be asking about. And I'm jumping straight to the reaction to the battle at the, oh no, it's a reaction to the combat phase for Nahumekh, isn't it? So yes, as soon as I've done the mobile, it is also time to do the effect of Nahumekh. So it's minus 3 HP for the marksman. He was thinking minus 1, I'm not sure why. Being a Nahumekh player himself, I would have thought he would be aware that it was a minus 3. Possibly I should have killed the Harbinger of the Storm with that and taken a ping. But yeah, no, I don't think so. So minus 3, the marksman's gone. It wouldn't matter which thing I take. he's got one more of that faction on the board for both of them. If it had been the last Tau on the board, it would have been really nice, because my reaction would have fired off and then his wouldn't have been as effective. But he uses his effect of -3 as well to take out my Harbinger of the Storm, and I'm suddenly going, oh, I haven't done this maths very carefully. Well, see, if the marksman hadn't been there, I would have been able to quite happily kill the Harbinger and then swing at the Talon, and then it would have been probably a pretty even fight. He would have been able to kill my cultist, but then I'd have at least 3 hit points on him in the Warlord fight. I use my Ravenwing to just shift the Pent Legion to a more safe planet. He's even less likely to want to go to that planet when he's winning command, and it wouldn't generate him a battle ability. He fires off a recycle. I'm assuming he's looking for shields, but then he dumps a promotion, so maybe not. I'm not sure quite what he's looking for at this point. Maybe he's just doing it because he can. He's not looking for anything in particular. I don't know. I feel like you've got to have a goal with something like a recycle, and I'm not sure what it was at that point. Beginning in deploy phase, I would have understood looking for deploy options, but no, I'm not sure what that was going for. Yeah, I think letting him trigger that obedience actually made quite a difference on this first planet. I'm going to have to be a bit of a stickler next time and see if it helps much. Because I'm quite keen. This is the first time I've used this particular deck, and I'm quite keen to see if moving the elites around like that can be effective. Basically, can I put them where they need to be at all times? Can I keep them in the thick of battle, you know? Can I even get them out, is another question. Okay, so we're all wrapped up action-wise, and I decide to leave. I decide the maths is just looking terrible, so I'm going to get out. I'm just going to run. And then it's just a matter of him picking away my Destroyer Cultist. And he's going to use his Warlord to do it, banking on me not having much of an ambush ability. Just shuffle the Ravenwing into line with their planet a bit more, and he wins Karnath, which of course you trigger, but I'm wondering what he's going to trigger. Maybe Platinum again. Yep, he goes for Platinum, and he's going to use it on the Harbinger. That's a solid choice. Then just shift it over to the next planet, ready for the final planet of the game. Well, potentially final planet of the game. But I'm not sure that I'm doing so well here. I've got 3 out of 5 of my cards are limited. One of them is a 2/2 for 2, well, a 1/2/2 for 2, and with an ability that I really need other cards to be able to trigger. I need to get 2 factions out of... oh, no factions. So my other Harbinger is almost entirely useless at this point. And I'm thinking, I don't have much to do. I've got a fallback that's useless. I've got an STC that's useless. I've got a Shroud Cruiser that's useless. I've got 2 Celtic that are actually useless because I don't have any Necron cards. All I've got is my 1 Destroyer Cultist, who is a 4/4, but it's a bit worrying, and he's got a lot more resources and cards than me. His Celtic complex has really been working quite overtime, so I'm not feeling too confident right at this stage. But it's up to him to move first, his action. Viola Marksman, yep, uses it to block my command, which is interesting. I stall a bit with a Celtic. Not going to be able to really do anything with it, but stalls for time a little bit. If I, by some miracle, manage to finish off him at this planet, I can trigger it next turn, hopefully. So he's got another Harbinger, which is good on him. Switches to Space Marines. So he's got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, he's got 3 currently, and if he puts out a Space Marines, that'll be 4. Which is really solid. Really good, solid Nahumekh there. That would be a 5/4 for your cultists for a cost of 3, which is good value. It's -4 wherever your warlord goes for a battle. That's really good value. Yeah. That's pretty much my only option there. Don't have anything else I can really do. My Ravenwing can move over to provide a little bit more. There we go. That's his 4th. That's good, solid. And then he's triggering off his 2 Sartek again, which is having those 2 Sartek. Good income. I just haven't been able to trigger mine as much as him, which is a real difference. Real solid difference. Oh, I got nothing. So I am done. That's it. Let's see, he's still got 5 resources and 6 cards, so he still could have quite a few different things to put down on the board. Already I don't feel like I can beat a 2/2, a 2/2, a 2/2. I don't think I can finish those off. So see what else he puts onto the playing field, and then we'll get on to the command phase. He recycles again. Again, I'm not sure quite what he's looking for. Another promotion gone. Another promotion gone. And then he draws his new 3. But it looks like it might have got him a Living Metal. That's another Black Crusade card there. I think I'm going to have a look closer at it. No, I'm not. Oh, there we go. No, there it is. Living Metal. After a Necron unit is assigned damage, sacrifice the support to prevent up to 5 of that damage. Wow. I mean, that really does it, doesn't it? I mean, I'm going to have to swing at one of those Destroyer Cultists and get nowhere. He can just avoid it. I could hit his Destroyer Cultist with a... What Possessed would die. A Helldrake, it would live. A Helldrake would not kill that Destroyer Cultist right now. He could prevent the 5, which would leave 3 damage, and it would hit back. It's pretty good Living Metal. It's pretty impressive. I mean, I've got to go to 1 because what else is there to do? But between the Living Metal and just the number of units he's got there, I don't think I'm going to be able to pull it off. He wins Planet 1, he wins Planet 4, we tie each on Planet 2 and 3, so I get nothing new, which is not great when he's already kicking me with the Sartek, but there's a bit more for him. And I mean, it's all over bar the shouting, so let's just wrap this up as quick as we can. No command actions, going on to mobile. Here we go, mobile, so I'll get my Ravenwing over here at least. He's targeting obedience at the wrong time again. See, I shift my mobile back because he's doing his obedience trigger, but yeah, it's way too late actually now. I'm letting him use it, and I'm sort of with hindsight going, you know what, really I should have said something earlier. After a phase begins. Okay, no, you can use it at this phase, at the combat phase. So maybe that's what he was thinking with the last one as well. It may have been that he was doing it after the combat phase. So that's actually fair enough. You can post comments saying, you know what, Aaron, you're just being mean and nasty, and you don't understand, because it may have been that I just completely mistook him. I may have got it completely wrong. Okay, Planet 1. What happens here? Warlord reaction, so I get to kill something. I've got -3 to do. Should have done it to the cultists and just seen if I could kill them off. Give it a try. But his is first, and he's got -4. And he takes out my cultist. Yeah, -4, no shielding, just dead. That's a good, solid Nahumekh effect there. That would have killed a possess. That would have been, ooh, ouch. Alright, I'm going to use mine to just kill off one of these 2/2s. I mean, it's all pretty much the same. I could have used it to ping the ranged one, might have been a good idea. But that's alright. Okay. And what does he swing with? Well, he's got to swing with the marksman, doesn't he? So what do the marksmen do? They go for the... Oh, no. Yeah, there we go. Ravenwing first. Oh, sorry, marksman first, not Ravenwing. There we go. So he's going to put one onto my warlord. Got to shield it with the fallback, but oh well. Yeah, shield. So I'm going to shield that one. Ha ha ha! I shield you. How dare you? Ravenwing going to try and put some damage onto Nahumekh. Cause him a little bit of pain. And he lets it get bloodied. I'm thrilled. Moral victory. Moral victory. I got the opposing clone of my own warlord. And then I'm just waiting for him to finish the job. Oh, go on. Destroy cultist. Oh, that's a hit. 2, 3, 4. It's actually 5. Should have been one more. Do I do another one? I just bloody him. There we go. Okay, so he got me. I'm out of there. And I'm already exhausted, so I'm just going to jump the gun here a bit. Those two do it. Boom. There we go. GG. So there you go. That's Nahumekh versus Nahumekh. It's a fun warlord to play. He's interesting. You should give him a go. See what you can pull out. And I hope you enjoyed that. A couple of interesting Black Crusade cards turned up there. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you next time. See you later.